Welcome to Comic and Screen. My name is Sam Otten, and with me is Jason Book. And we recently talked about some villains that we would like to see in the forthcoming Batman standalone film in the Justice League universe from Warner Brothers. Now, what we're going to do is talk about some villains that we would like to see in the Man of Steel sequel, which Variety is reporting. I think it was Variety. They're saying that it's in active development from Warner Brothers that we are going to get a Man of Steel sequel sometime down the line, obviously after Justice League and stuff, where we probably see the return of Superman. But we have some ideas of the villains that we thought could work or that would at least be fun to see in a Man of Steel sequel. So first of all, this one, there's some rumors going around, a lot of people talking about it. Brainiac is going to be the villain of the sequel. Just a rumor, no kind of confirmation of that at all. But that's one that made our list as well, to see Brainiac and Superman going at it. Very classic Superman villain. So what are your thoughts on Brainiac?
Well, I think that's a pretty cool idea because it actually goes back to even like the Superman Lives movie they were going to make with Tim Burton. So it'd be cool to see them finally do that. Lots of potential. It could have ties to Krypton like they've done in the animated series and the comics, or they could make it completely its own thing where he's just someone that goes and collects alien races and he needs to collect the last Kryptonium. And it's very simple, but it would work very well in the movie and would allow for some really good visuals as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it can work great. The Collector's a cool angle. It hasn't really been done in another comic book movie like that. And he's just such a classic villain, mostly tied to Superman. But in terms of power level, I mean, he's an earthly threat, so I could see Brainiac being a Justice League villain, except that it seems like Justice League and Justice League 2 are already kind of worked out, where it's going to be Steppenwolf for the first one with hints of Darkseid, and then Darkseid for the second Justice League movie is what I'm assuming. So that doesn't leave room for Brainiac, so maybe Brainiac does come into the Superman standalone.
Yeah, for sure. I could totally see that working.
Yeah, but otherwise he's powerful enough, and if he is trying to, like, maybe he's coming to try to collect the last Kryptonium, but maybe he's also going to collect Earth or Metropolis or something like that. So it's a big threat level, but it's also, classically linked with Superman. But yeah, I think you could have a very great design. You could expand the universe in the sense of maybe another alien race, or he collects other planets, and that might allow you to bring in Thanagar or other kinds of illusions. So it would really build the universe. To me, that would be, though, if they want to take Superman in a kind of like cosmic space direction, and maybe they don't want to do that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, because we do have our next villain on the list is another one that sort of involves aliens and other worlds and expanding the Superman mythos in the movie universe out into space, and that would be Warworld with Mongul coming in. So what are your thoughts if Mongul happened to be the villain in Man of Steel sequel?
Well, that one's got a special place for me because it's one of my top Superman stories of all time for the man who has everything. And it was adapted already into an episode of Justice League, and I really enjoyed it. Superman needs someone that's a believable threat on screen. And I think Mongul really would be that. And you could also set it up, if they did adapt that story at all, with a cameo by Wonder Woman getting taken down, or another character that may be established by then from Justice League, showing that really Superman maybe could be the only one who can stop him. And I think it would work really well. There's lots of story potential that they used from that classic Alan Moore story that could be used in this. It's just really cool. It's lots of ideas. A lot of people compare him to Darkseid and things. But if used properly in the movie, he could definitely have his own thing going on.
Yeah, for me, this is kind of one of those ones where it's like, man, I would love to see a live-action movie with Mongul and stuff, and it could be, having Superman go and have to be this champion off on Warworld, and however they decide to play it out. He's also been a character that was involved in the Reign of the Supermen storyline, and in New 52, Mongul came in with Superman and Wonder Woman. They had some stuff going on as well. But I don't think this one's very likely, but it's kind of one of those ones that would just be awesome to see. But the reason I say I don't think it's very likely is because the way that they've developed Superman and his very grounded reality and, him, connecting with Earth and then humanity having to finally, accept him and recognize, Superman's role in the world, that seems much more grounded and realistic than all of a sudden a Warworld coming in, and it's just kind of a very comic booky villain. So that's why I think this one's a long shot, but I would be excited if it happened.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool, but I definitely admit it's a little bit fanboy-ish.
Now, what if we bring things down a little bit and maybe it's not so space-based, maybe it's more Earth-based, and then the first one that comes to my mind, and actually you had this one right high on your list as well, is Metallo. Because to me, you could do a Metallo story that's kind of a military drama where, to me, you could explore this big question of, if the military has a very noble cause that they're trying to, like, maybe they're trying to stop genocide or they're trying to take down somebody that's obviously like a very evil, enemy, is it Superman's responsibility to actually help the military? To me, that's like a big question. So far, we've seen Superman more rescuing people, saving the world from a clear, existential threat, or helping people in disaster situations. But Superman would be an amazing soldier if he was needed to help out, and Metallo would bring in that military connection. And to me, that could be a great story, but it's a much more Earth-based, pretty realistic. You could get into issues of military terrorism, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they've already kind of established that military presence in Man of Steel, so it could work well. I like the Metallo character because it's kind of like the Terminator. You can do a lot with it. It doesn't have to be just one set in stone version of Metallo. You really just need to have a guy who either agrees to be experimented on, or something happens because he's going to die anyways, and becomes some sort of crazy villain for Superman, and a good foil, because you got to have that kryptonite thing in there. That's huge to the character when he opens him up and he can't fight him, and it's got lots of potential. So I think visually it would work really well, and not everyone knows who the character is, so it could be kind of refreshing for a Superman movie.
Yeah, to me, this one, like, I kind of wish that this is a way that they go, because I like the realism of the universe, and I like taking Superman and putting him into a real setting and then helping us kind of reflect on ourselves as a society. Like in Batman v Superman, it makes us reflect on media and kind of prejudgment and, bandwagoning.
Sure.
And now you could take the military angle. And yeah, I think they've already got the kryptonite. They've already set up military connections with Swanwick and Man of Steel and everything. And now you could take that one step further. You could bring in Sam Lane. So now you have some drama for Lois, right? She has to manage her father and her love interest. And maybe they do John Corbin or Metallo being jealous of Superman because maybe he has a thing for Lois. That's kind of what they did in the New 52. So I think you could get some real nice, dramatic threads.
Yeah, I think it could work really well.
So that's one. Another one that could be kind of Earth-based, depending on how they design it, would be Parasite. So we could have this Parasite thing, and I think what would be interesting about that is just having a villain that can mimic powers or can absorb powers like that, which makes him an interesting foe to try to take down.
Yeah, for me, the reason I like Parasite on this list harkens back to one of my favorite things in Superman 2, which is when Superman loses his powers. And I think if they use Parasite right, you could really elevate him as a villain in the Superman movie and have him completely deplete Superman of his powers for a short period of time, and get those classic scenes in there where Superman has to face his humanity, gets his ass kicked a little bit, but everyone likes to see that happen in a movie, and then he comes back even better at the end. I think that one, it sounds on paper maybe not like the best villain to pick, but it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, and I think they could find a way to do it that works in the movie universe. They could be creative and figure out some way to kind of explain how Parasite does this. But what you said about him actually sapping Superman's power does make me more intrigued, because you also could do something like a Mazo, and you could have it like an android that can mimic or learn the powers or somehow.
Right.
But I like what you said about the Parasite angle, because he could actually deplete Superman, and then that would bring in lots of new things. The TV show Supergirl also had an episode where her powers were depleted, and she was like human for a day. The comic books recently did that right at the end of Jeff Johns and the Superman book. And it's good storytelling, right? It's just good. Take Superman, take away his powers, and see how he interacts. What does he do? Make him face some decisions.
Exactly. And they could also flip it too, and if they had some moments of showing what the villain did with all this power, do something creative with it, not just be like, oh, I've got Superman's powers, I'm going to take over the world. Maybe show that some people couldn't handle it, and all sorts of interesting elements,
Yeah. All right, before we get to our last villain choice, which will be kind of a surprising one for people, but before we get there, a few honorable mentions. We had Manchester Black, maybe doing something like with the Authority, or something akin to like Superman versus the Elite. Maybe something with Intergang. They have technology from Apocalypse, and so we have Apocalypse, so that might work. And then another honorable mention is to actually bring back Lex Luthor. And to me, maybe Lex Luthor could be like a complementary villain to a main villain. Like, he might be trying to work with Brainiac, or maybe he's, trying to coerce Metallo or something like that. But we could maybe see Lex Luthor again, too.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you could have him be kind of the mastermind behind the birth of Metallo, or something to do with any of these ones we mentioned, really would be nice addition there, because I'd like to see especially if Eisenberg's playing it, get a little more screen time with Luthor, and really become that manipulative, bald genius that we all love to hate, right?
Hmm. All right, so our last villain idea for the Man of Steel sequel. I'm going to actually let you, Jason, pitch this one.
Sure. So I was thinking outside the box, as people know who listen to us. I've been a comic book fan all my life, and I always felt Superman villains were good, but sometimes it gets short shrift compared to Batman and other characters out there. Spider-Man's got a great rogues gallery. So I was kind of thinking outside the box in this one. And DC's done something where, at first I didn't like it, that they said the TV and movie universes were different, but it gave me an idea. I'm like, well, since Supergirl's already established in the TV show, why not go a completely different angle with this and have Supergirl have a bad element to her? And she comes from the planet either earlier or however you want to do it with the story, and she comes to Earth and she's pissed off. And she wants to fight Superman, or feels that, like, something happens where, maybe she blames him for what happened to Krypton or her own planet or something like that. It's got a lot of potential. Definitely have someone exactly Superman's power strength to go against. Plus, Superman thinking perhaps she's another Kryptonian. He wouldn't want to really fully go off on her and take her down. So a lot of ideas there. You can bring up the space thing, and definitely end it either with her being good or bad. It could go either way.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, very compelling, right? And if the Supergirl TV show is still going on, this would be a really nice way to separate the movie universe and be like, no, check out Supergirl in the movie universe. Like, she's a threat, a legitimate threat to Superman.
Yeah.
And you could either make, so in the New 52, when they started the Supergirl book, she also fought Superman at the beginning, but it was just because she was confused and she didn't really know where she was or what was going on.
Yeah,
but what you're talking about is actually to give her, like, real motives for why she is antagonistic to Superman,
Right.
which I think could be better. And it could be based in Krypton, or it could also be based in Man of Steel. Like, maybe she finds out that Superman chose Earth over Zod, and she finds out that Superman didn't use the Codex and didn't, like, repopulate the Kryptonians, and maybe she's like, I knew the Kryptonians, like, I knew what that race was, and I blame you for making that choice in Man of Steel.
Yeah, and it's got, like, lots of story ways they could explain it. Like, she was stuck in the Phantom Zone, they can introduce that. Or she got sent before Superman did, but due to some time thing or something, she didn't get there before he did. It's easily explainable, and it's got a lot of potential, I think.
Yeah, and there was the prequel comic, so before people, like, get nitpicky on us and talk, the prequel comic can easily be sort of pushed aside. So if they want the prequel comic to be canon, they can do that. But if they have a great movie idea that conflicts with that prequel comic from before Man of Steel, the prequel comic just gets brushed aside because, probably only a few thousand people read the prequel comic, and millions of people are seeing the movies, tens of millions of people. So
that's right. If we've learned anything from any sort of comic book movie, it's that story should be first, and if the story dictates something can be changed and work well, why not go for it?
Yeah. All right. So that's our list of some ideas for the Man of Steel sequel villain. Let us know if you have some other villains that you'd like to see, or if you have thoughts about the ones that we brought up. But I'm excited about this movie. I think that this universe has a great, large arc for Superman and Clark Kent, and I'm looking forward to him coming back in Justice League, and I'm very excited that he has his own movie to really breathe and even expand his character some more.
Yeah, me too. I'm really glad that Man of Steel is getting a proper sequel, because I felt that Batman vs. Superman his character was handled okay, but we didn't get the development that we're going to get in a Man of Steel sequel, so I'm looking forward to it.